Penguin podcast and host August Sandberg and me, because now I'm the guest on our own podcast. Again, you might say. But the reason is we have sailed to Shetland in the end of January. I've just returned. And we went there to see the Up Helly Aa festival. I wasn't sure we would gonna make it because of the weather system that was coming in. Were pretty intense, but we made it to the Shetlands and we made it back, all due to a very good crew that I had on Eastbourne, the Swan 48, which is in the 59 North fleet. So kudos to those guys. When I got back, the new edition of Sail to Svalbard, the book, was waiting for me. So if you're interested, if you're dreaming of Svalbard, or if you're going to Svalbard, and you should, you can order the book directly from me on my website explorenorth.no, or you can buy it as Kindle or or as a book on Amazon. Just search up my name, Jon Amtrup. So, but in the meantime, please listen to this, and maybe you would get inspired to sail to the Shetlands in January, because the North Sea, it can be cool in the winter time, but it also fun to make it between the weather systems. So enjoy.
Planning a crossing of the North Sea in January in a small sailboat is not something that a lot of people do. And you just returned from having eastbound. You sailed eastbound from Bergen to Shetland and back just last week, actually, as we're recording this. Of course, it's a fairly short trip. It's like 200, like 190 miles.
Yep.
One way.
Yep. I think it's 200 actually, from harbor to harbor. Something like that.
Yeah.
And we found. Of course, both you and I have been following the weather the last couple of weeks, and we have seen that the weather windows was quite narrow. The lows kept pumping into the North Sea at a regular speed, but we were happy to find one. A short one. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very exciting watching the weather as the trip approached, and we had talked about this beforehand as well when we planned this, and luckily set off quite a lot of time. Even just having just a passage of 200 miles, which is a day and a half on Eastbourne. The trip was 10 days, just to be sure to be able to find or have the time to wait for a weather window if that would be needed, and it worked out pretty good.
We saw the weather window coming up pretty fast after the guests had arrived, so we took the fast version of the briefing at the dock in Bergen and set off just 24 hours after after the crew had arrived, and we actually started going into the North Sea while it was getting dark, which is not the best of option when it comes to crossing a sea, in my regards, and especially when it's 14 hours of darkness.
Yeah,
and people tend to get a little bit more seasick when it's dark, and especially when you're starting in the dark. So I was a little bit, that was the the option, the hand we were dealt. We had to go.
True.
Yeah.
It's just to paint the picture for our listeners in the tropics. The North Sea in January up here is well. I get you can get a lot of things, but it is as you say 14 hours of darkness. That's right? That's yeah. So that is quite dark and. Also, it's windy, lots of wind, lots of storms coming by, and also quite cold. I'm not sure how was the temperature out there when you guys were in it?
Oh, it wasn't that bad actually. I was expecting it to be a lot colder. I bought some heat pads, things to take out of the plastic and they heat themselves, to put on the boots and the gloves, but I didn't use them at all. It was around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius, and with the wind chill maybe around 0 degrees, something like that.
Yeah.
And but we I have some experience in sailing in the winter time, so we early decided to have short watches. We divided into 3 teams and had 2 hours on and 4 hours off. And we had the heat running below deck at all times. So it was nice and dry and comfy down below. And that makes a whole lot of difference when you can come down to another environment than the freezing stuff up top. But yeah, that's no better feeling than to crawl down the companionway just stiff from having been on watch, and then the diesel heater going. So that's really nice. Yeah,
it was.
And weather-wise, we had maybe 3 meters of waves at the most on the way over.
Yeah.
And it was gusting 30 knots in a short period of time in the night there. But it was it was a very fast crossing.
It was really fast. Yeah, you guys were really flying. I was watching me, and I know a lot of people were watching you guys on the tracker, and it was constantly. I don't think I saw it drop below 7 knots. I don't think it was really fast. So
we used 26 hours or something like that from coastline to coastline.
That's very good. That's really good. And
that's what she's built for, isn't it?
That's right. That's what she likes. Absolutely. Yeah. And it was a good thing too.
Yeah.
It was a good thing too that you made it a fast crossing, because you, as you mentioned at the top, it was a fairly short weather window, because there was. So Bergen is east. Shetland is 200 miles directly west of Bergen, and then there was a pretty hefty low pressure system coming in, sort of up between like Greenland and the UK, where they often come this time of year, and was gonna hit Shetland with some pretty horrible westerlies later that same day when you guys arrived, I think. So you kind of it would have been a grueling upwind last little stretch if you guys hadn't been as fast as you were. So that was no, I was counting on the grid files to be accurate, and it was. So no, it was very good to tie up at the dock in Victoria Pier in Lerwick, and waking up the next day to see that the wind was picking up big time. I actually went for a run and had the wind in my back, and I had to brake
I tried to brake because the wind was so strong that it just blew me up the hill. So no, I wouldn't like to be out in a boat in that kind of weather. And a friend of mine who was in Shetlands did the same trip. I think it's 5 or 6 years ago. He's from Fredrikstad too, and he was thinking about doing it this year, but leaving from Fredrikstad, he didn't see any weather holes. And he called me when I was in Shetland and asked, "Are you cheating?" Because he couldn't understand how we made it across in that weather. And he had 70 knots when he approached, and when they approached Lerwick on the last stretch. So that was kind of over the top here.
Oh, wow.
Not something you want to experience. But yeah, and they had to leave the boats.
Right. Yeah. And leaving on Shetland and
on Shetland and come back later to pick it up, just like Erik. No bullshit, just sailing had to do. I was the same year. He was over. Yeah.
That's right, Erik Underhå. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's what you risk this in the sailing in the winter up here. So, but yeah, no, fantastic that you guys made it across and so fast as you did, and it's of course with a boat that's is parts of the equation, but also the skipper had also done this passage quite a few times before, I believe. How many times have you been there now?
This is my 14th time.
Not bad.
Yeah, going to Shetland. So yeah, back and forth, double done. Something like that. Yeah, I really like going to Shetland. That's
yeah, it's,
I like the people and like the landscape and the beer and everything. Before we had tied our lines to the dock, we got an invitation to coffee the next day from one of the locals. So you always get a friendly reception at Shetland.
That is very very cool. It's it's a very special place, and like a very small, kind of very friendly community, and there feels like there is this kind of special kind of connection with the sea between Norway and Shetland. With we have of course the history of the Shetland bus going back to the Second World War, where Norway was of course occupied by Nazi Germany, and simple sailors and fishermen would sail back and forth between Shetland and Norway, smuggling agents and intel, and doing all kinds of sabotage work for the Allies.
And they didn't have the weather forecast we have nowadays, and they had to take a lot of bigger risks than we did. So compared to what they did, this crossing was Gran Canaria summer vacation, maybe.
That's true. Yeah. No,
but still, it was a We were, like you said, it was never a given that we would make it. We might have ended up sailing along the Norwegian coast, which would have been fine that too. But we were there to go to a festival, wasn't we?
That's right. Yeah, there was actually not only to be just a badass hardcore sailor that we went across the North Sea in January. There was an actual event going on. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the festival?
Yeah, it's called Up Helly Aa, and it originates from the 1800s, something like that. And in my head, it was a Viking festival, and I always wanted to go there. I've watched it online several times, and I really wanted to go. So it was kind of a surprise when it turned out to be more of a crazy dress-up party. A fancy dress party. But that being said, it was when we lined up along the street in just after dark at the top of Lerwick by the town hall, and they cut off all the lights in the street, and then all the people with torches lining the streets, and when there was a red flare fired, and then they all lit their torches.
Wow!
And you can feel the heat, and it became daylight, except for it was sparks flying all over because it was blowing like crazy, of course. And the fumes from the kerosene, from the torches, and the parade. I made a magical atmosphere. It was really cool to witness. And they were parading on the top of the island there, and they dragged that Viking longship, which they eventually torched. Everyone threw their torches into it. It was crazy thing. But there is a Viking element to it, but it's kind of a Disney Viking thing with the helmet, with the horns, and a lot of glitter and everything. But it was. I really had a good time. It was something special, and every hotel, everything was full. It was a lot of people, maybe a couple of thousand people lining the streets. So
wow,
it was cool.
That's a lot for being Shetland, which is a small place. So this is a pretty big deal in Shetland, right?
Yeah.
Like how does it rank compared to other kind of holidays?
It's I'm not sure how it ranks to other holidays, but they prepared for this for a whole year. I guess they already started preparing for the next Up Helly Aa, because they have to choose who's going to be the head honcho. The big man, and the Jarl, and what is his name, and who's going to be in the squad, the costumes, and building that replica longship, which is beautifully built.
They watch
it, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. They actually build a wooden Viking longship, and then they burn it on the. Yep. That's
burn it to the ground.
That is so weird.
And there's also a kid squad, and they do exactly the same. Build the replica and burn it to the ground.
That's crazy.
And it's not just in Lerwick. It's in how many places? 10 or 14 places around Shetland that have their own Up Helly Aa.
Oh,
so
really?
I guess we could been there for a month or so, just sailing between Up Helly Aas, and because they don't, it isn't on the same day. So that is cool. And the party, it all starts at 7 o'clock in the morning, and end 8 o'clock the next morning.
Oh wow! A full 24-hour.
A full 24 hours, and then some for the hardest of the Vikings. Yeah,
right.
So because we luckily enough we have we know people like John, our crew said. So we got the invitation to the hall, to the party, which is in several different locations in Lerwick, but we got to the culture house where the cinema is, which was really nice, and that started at 8 in the evening and closed at 8 in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty intense.
Yeah, and all the fancy dress-up squads, they toured between all the party places and gave a performance at every place. And
Oh,
got some
wow.
food. Yeah, cool. And the yard squad came, and there was dancing in between. And my crew, they had practiced their dancing. We actually did it on the pier, and that's where the taxis are. And so one of the taxis played music for them while they were training. And
Oh, really?
yeah, and there's a web camera at Victoria Pier, which points directly at our boat at sometimes. And John's wife, sitting home in the US, had been watching.
No way! That's amazing.
Watching him on webcam training for the dancing on the pier in the rain, full foulers, everything. They were best of crew. Yeah, really cool.
That was fantastic. I saw that on your. I believe it was on your Instagram. You had filmed. It was so great. Just like the boat was there, and then just on the pier, you had all these people just like dancing, as you say, in their full Helly Hansen foulies, and the wind just blowing and raining, and it's just like so. Wow, that is pretty cool.
That was really funny. So yep,
cool. Yeah, the weather was pretty, as we said, pretty gnarly when you guys were out there. You had hoped to do a little bit of kind of sailing around on Shetland while we were there, or that was something that we talked about. And you did actually do a little bit.
We got 1 day. 1 day out of the 7 days we were there. There was sailing conditions. It was 15 to 17 knots westerly winds, so we were in lee of the land and just cruised north in the beautiful landscape and anchored. There was a seal looking at us while we were eating our lunch, and hoisted anchor and sailed back again. And it was sunny and it was a beautiful day. But after that it was just mayhem, before or after. When I came back from the Up Helly Aa festival, the table down below was cleared out. Everything was on the floor.
Right.
So it was gusty. It was westerly to northwesterly, so we were a little bit, so we were sheltered by the land, but the gusts were quite, over the top.
Yeah.
But, yep.
Pretty,
what can you do?
Pretty hefty. Yeah, I was watching the weather systems come by there, and there was a lot of wind. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and,
it was forecasted to be gusting 60 knots in the harbor. I don't know if it came to that, but it was strong enough.
Pretty intense.
Yeah.
And we were both looking at the forecast, both of us, when you guys were over there, and looking at the weather windows and what kind of opportunities there were, and then luckily there was then a gap that came by pretty well timed.
Yeah, we had planned to start on Thursday morning, because on Tuesday that looked like the best option. And there was a ban on Wednesday evening that I really wanted to hear at the boating club. But you can't get everything in life, so on Wednesday morning the new weather forecast just I discussed it with you, and it was the right thing to do, just to get some fresh groceries and do the last minute tourist shopping and get going. So we cast off at 1 o'clock local time.
Right, yeah.
And the weather forecast was that it's going to be westerly 20-25 out of Shetland, and that was correct. And that we're going to have a slow patch in the middle. So we motored for 6 hours And on the last stretch, we got also what they promised us, and that was up to 25, but a little bit more on the nose than expected. But yeah, it was sleet and 22, 23 knots of wind. So it was, and it was dark, of course.
Very nice.
Yeah, but yeah, the crew was, it was a very good crew. They were always happy, always keen to do whatever needed to be done, and yeah, everyone contributed with the cooking and yeah,
very cool.
Good spirits. Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, they were. I had the pleasure of hanging out with you and them a couple of days in Bergen before you set off, and yeah, really cool crew. And of course, this was something that they specifically had wanted when they signed up to do this trip. Of course, because you know, and a lot of people who come sailing with us is kind of. You know, they might have had their fill of sunscreen and tropical sandy beaches, and kind of want to take that next step and maybe learn a bit more about like heavy weather sailing and weather routing and you know, weather windows and that stuff. And one of the crew was you know, he was gonna join the Clipper race and sail on the Southern Ocean, and he was, you know, also really interested in trying his hand at some you know, some cold and dark sailing. So I would say that they definitely got their they got what they ordered.
They definitely got what they ordered. No, they were good group, and yeah, Mark is going to do the Clipper race, and he was happy with what he got. And John, that was his wife who ordered him the trip, and when he tried to explain his co-workers what he was doing, they were, I'm going to sail the North Sea in January. And why? And that was the only thing they repeated. Why? But no, yeah, I think he had the answer to the why himself. So, and yeah, and Jordan, he was on. He had been on Ice Bear before. He sailed Eastbourne to Svalbard and Svalbard to Iceland.
That's right.
In 2018.
That's
right. When we rigged the Preventer on the trip back from Shetland, he said, "I can do that. That was my job."
Very cool.
Yeah.
He was in cold weather sailing Eastbourne, and then very, very cool.
Yeah, he was good. He even bought a satellite phone so his boss could get a hold of him in case of something happened at work. But luckily, nothing happened at work. He got to enjoy his sailing without doing the work. So yeah.
Very good. That would have been quite the combination, having to deal with sleet and darkness and gales and some kind of weird software problem at work at the same time.
We actually had Mark, because we got the key to the boating club. So and we were stuck on shore for 6 days. So Mark, he did meetings and a good deal of work at the boating club, because we were the only people using it. So we had showers, washing machine, big living room, a rowing machine. So he spent his days there when he was not doing something with us. And so they were, because that's really what separates good crew from bad crew, and not only thing, but the ability, the patience to wait out weather in the winter time. because more than half the time we didn't sail, and because you have to be patient enough just to sit and do something. Find a way.
Yeah, it is certainly a big part of offshore sailing, is to kind of get into this to understand that it really is the weather who decides when you go and what you can do and what you can't do. And the weather was especially strict with you guys this time around.
So, it was.
It was.
But we also had some onboard activities while it was blowing. Gillian, who was a doctor working in Reykjavik, was one of the crew. She taught us how to sew. We stitched up several bananas.
Very good.
Really professional. Yeah.
That was a great photo that you sent with all of you sitting there with your headlamps, suturing up bananas, wounded bananas.
And also Filippa, the first mate, also got to put an IV into Julian's arm. No bananas there. We didn't do anything. So that was cool.
Also, Philip put an IV into the teachers. Not the other way around. Oh,
not the other way around. No,
very cool.
No. So that's some expedition medicine training. That was really cool.
Very nice. Yeah, that was great. Good that you guys got to do some learnings whilst you were there.
Hopefully I will not have to use it, but
that's very, very true. But if it happens, then now if any of the bananas on board gets wounded, then you can stitch them up. Good job. Cool.
Good at that.
It's it was exciting following you guys back as well. It was kind of the same story. It's kind of how the weather windows operate in the North Sea in the wintertime, with these low pressure systems kind of following the jet stream and coming up, passing sort of up past the UK and Norway, and again you guys were kind of sneaking out between the two of them. So you kind of left on the tail side of one, and then you had to accept a little bit of calm in the middle there and do some motoring, and then there was a pretty hefty one that came in behind you guys with a very prominent massive front that was coming along with it. It's like sort of chasing you guys across the North Sea, and I bet that made you speed, made you go even faster just looking at that forecast.
Yeah, I was really quick to turn on the engine when the speed dropped below 5 knots. Just to, I didn't want to mess around in that kind of conditions. So no, it seems like at least this winter and so far the weather windows has been 34 hours, something like that. So in a smaller boat, I'm not that sure if I would go. But if you have a fast boat and a good solid boat, and you time your exit good, it's definitely possible. What's 30 hours in a man's life? You can be in Shetland.
All right. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's that is that's a larger interesting discussion that we could have another time. But it's when people are buying boats and fitting out boats, and many people want to have they want a big heavy, full keeled, massive boat, because you can then survive the roughest conditions, and you can heave to in storms and stuff. But then you wouldn't be able to, if you had a boat like that, you wouldn't have been able to make these kinds of weather windows, for instance. No. So that's something to consider. That's for sure. So,
yeah, for winter sailing, I'll choose Isbjørn and similar designs any day of the week, instead of modern, more flat-hulled, fin-keeled. They probably do the job, but I feel a lot more secure on an older, more sturdy boat that I know can handle it.
Yeah,
can handle it much better, and be kind to the crew, because that's all that matters. Actually, it's always the crew that breaks down. It's not always, but it's more often than the boat, the crew that gives in.
Very true. Yeah, the boat can take a lot more than the crew usually. Yeah. So no, I think it's Isbjørn is 50 years old now, but it's she's still a fantastic seaboat, and there's been many innovations and sort of a lot of progress in boat design since she was made by Nautra back in the day. But I think that kind of finding that unique balance of like speed and weatherliness and comfort and like seaworthiness is, I think she's just perfectly just fits very nicely into the into all of those curves, I think. So
and on the last day we stopped in Gjellestad when we came into the Norwegian coast, just by the airport actually, and stayed the night there, tied up in the sleet and the slippy dock. And the next day it was one of the best winter days I've ever had. It was sunny, 10 to 12 knots of wind from the north, and we were tacking all the way into Bergen. And she was sailing beautifully there too. It was everyone was smiling. It was the best end to the trip we could possibly have.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And, you guys ended the trip in the same spot where you started, in a completely empty harbor in Bergen. So not many other boats around in the weather, and very cool. Champagne was popped, and I think everybody earned their glasses.
Definitely
from the trip.
On this trip we had champagne on both sides of the North Sea. Actually, we saved one bottle, so
very good idea. I think that was well deserved. Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally think so. So are we going to do it next year, August?
I think so. It sounds like you would like to go back there, Jon.
Oh yeah. I would always go back. Would like to go back to Shetland.
Very cool. Yeah, I think we just decided then that we're gonna put it on the calendar as well for next year. It's a cool kind of, it's not what we usually do. It's kind of different from the other trips that we run, but it's pretty cool. It's a rather unique challenge with that, and it's sort of a very good kind of almost like a classroom example of like weather window management and weather routing, and then you have this very cool and interesting event in the
Yep.
It's as a cherry on top over there, which I would very much like to see as well. It sounds absolutely bonkers.
Oh, it's so funny, and it is offshore passages like 59 North do. This is definitely offshore.
Oh yes,
in another time of the year. So yeah,
certainly.
It's a cool experience, and a lot more people should do the trip because it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, it's true. It was kind of disappointing that there were no other boats around at all. Like not even in Bergen before the departure there. It was just like completely empty. And even like we were trying to find shore power, and we talked to the harbor master, and they had like shut everything down. I was a little disappointed. I mean, it's because. It's cold and dark and all that, but it's so beautiful still in the wintertime to be out there and to sail and and
the West Coast is beautiful all year round. You just have to have a little bit more time to wait out poor weather. But when we came back, there was actually a few boats there. A quarterdeck fan was there to greet us. He was very envious, so he was cool, and he was out sailing with his son. So that was
That's very cool.
That's a spirit.
Yeah. Leif, was that it?
Leif. Yep.
Shout out to Leif. Thanks for stopping by. That's really cool. I love to see people out sailing in the winter time. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's very cool. But this Shetland trip, this coincides pretty good with the next adventure for Eastburn, doesn't it? You're gonna have a sailing course.
That's right. Yeah, it's I guess in the end of March, I'm gonna do a couple of sail training camps, sail courses here on the West Coast, which will be really cool. So looking forward to that. It's the first time we've done something like this, and we initially we put them together for because we were going to have a lot of crew sailing on our 159 Ice Bear for the Ocean Globe Race, but then we that's a long story, but we're not doing the Ocean Globe Race anymore. But then we had planned to train all the crew on Isbjørn for the Ocean Globe Race, and then we figured might just keep the courses in there anyway. It's I think that'll be fun for potential crewmates. So those will be really really cool. That'll be nice. And also, speaking of the Ocean Globe Race, we just made a little plan for this fall when Isbjørn is going to sail south to the start of the Ocean Globe Race, which is on the 10th of September. So the two of us and Isbjørn are going to go down there and join all the boats for the start of that. And that is going to be both a fantastic passage and also a fantastic just to see the spectacle and to head out with the fleet and join that. And there's still a couple of berths available for that, actually, I think. Is
it?
That's something that people should definitely check out. Well, there's still some openings there. I think we might as well wrap this up. Thank you very much, Jon. This was great. Thanks for taking such good care of Isbjørn and for making the trip. And excited to do this again next year on the Isbjørn's 2024 calendar, which is will probably be published by the time you listen to this. So if you want to go toss some torches onto a wooden Viking ship on Shetland in next January. Go check out the passages at 59-north.com. And there we go. Cool. Thanks, Jon.
Hi guys, thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope you found it interesting. If you want to know more about high latitude sailing, I can highly recommend, without blushing, the book I wrote together with Bob Shepton, High Latitude Sailing, Self-Sufficient Sailing Techniques for Cold Waters and Winter Seasons. You'll find it on